Lechang is located at the southern foot of the Nanling Mountains, in the middle and upper reaches of the Wu River. To the northwest it borders Zhejiang in Hunan, and to the northeast it connects to Ruqing in Hunan. It is the northernmost county in Guangdong province. Because it lies on the border between Guangdong and Hunan provinces, the public security environment is relatively complex. Every year, its crime rate accounts for 1/6 of the total in the entire Shaoguan area. And most of these are serious and major cases. On Friday, December 22, 2000, at the Lechang Public Security Bureau, Chen Feixiong, an old detective with 30 years of police experience, had handled all kinds of cases and had become a seasoned old master detective known for solving major and serious crimes. Beep, his mobile phone rang. He casually flipped it open. "Hello. This is Chen Feixiong." "Go ahead." "Captain Chen, we just received a 110 report. A family of 3 was murdered at Lechang paper mill. An entire household wiped out. Come to the brigade immediately." Chen Feixiong's head buzzed. He hadn't expected another major case. He instinctively glanced at his watch. It was 13:41. Without hesitation he replied, "Got it. I'm on my way. Follow procedure and report to the relevant leaders and the Shaoguan Municipal Criminal Investigation Detachment right away." With that, he hurried toward the brigade headquarters in quick strides. Once there, he immediately gathered several detectives, jumped into a police car, and sped toward the crime scene. Almost at the same time, Zhang Yuke, who was in Pingsher Town, Lechang, also received the same report. Zhang Yuekue was a veteran criminal investigator and now served as the deputy director of the Lechang Public Security Bureau, in charge of criminal investigation. Years of experience had forged in him a calm and unflappable character. He put down the phone, walked quickly to the side of He Wanfei, the member of the Lechang Municipal Party Committee Standing Committee and director of the Public Security Bureau, who was directing operations, and said in a low voice, "Director He, a major case has occurred in Lechang district." "What kind of major case?" He Wanfei looked up and asked, his face grave. "Just received a report. A family of 3 at Lechang paper mill was killed in their home. It's horrific." "A family of 3? Is that the whole family?" "Yes. A couple who were both workers at the paper mill, plus their 19-year-old daughter. This is a family annihilation case." He Wanfei's heart sank. This was the first extermination-style mass murder in the history of Lechang, and extremely rare even in the entire Shaoguan area. He frowned deeply, thought for a moment and said, "Director Zhang, the explosion case here is basically wrapped up. You take the criminal investigation technical team and head to the paper mill scene immediately. I'll finish handling the aftermath here, and then bring the main force to join you." He Wanfei had originally been a township party secretary in Nanxiong City. Later, through organizational arrangement, he became the public security director of Nanxiong, and in 1998 was transferred to serve as director in Lechang. Although he often joked that he was only half a career policeman, he worked decisively and vigorously. Whenever a major case occurred, he always took command from the front lines and fought alongside grassroots detectives, earning deep respect from everyone. "Understood," Zhang Yuekue replied crisply. He turned to the technical team and ordered, "Get the equipment ready. We're heading back to Lechang district immediately." Lechang paper mill was originally a state-owned enterprise. After restructuring, it was renamed Lechang Yuxing Paper Industry Company, Limited, but people still habitually called it Lechang Paper Mill. In recent years, due to poor performance, the factory had been operating at half capacity. Most workers had been laid off or placed on standby, leaving only a small number of maintenance personnel responsible for keeping the equipment in repair so that production could resume whenever an order came in. That morning, Old Wang, the director of the electrical workshop, was quite upset. For nearly 3 days he had been unable to contact Huang Kailiang, the deputy director of the workshop. No one answered the phone at his home, his pager went unanswered, and when someone was sent to knock on his door, there was no response. A neighbor said perhaps the whole family had gone back to Huang's hometown in Pingsher. Old Wang muttered to himself, "Even though the enterprise is half shut down, you Huang Kailiang are the deputy workshop director and also the head of the electrical team. You're on full duty and receiving full salary. If you're going back to your hometown, at least ask for leave and let someone know. How can you just disappear like that? Now a piece of equipment is broken and waiting for repair. At this critical moment, shouldn't you be back? Old Wang rode his bicycle to the new dormitory block A at Rongshitu, Hunan Town, a 7-story building. He climbed to the 5th floor, thump thump thump, and shouted at room 502. Old Huang. Director Huang. No answer. He gave the security gate a light push. It wasn't locked and swung open. Feeling something was odd, he continued calling while stepping inside. Reaching a small balcony. The wooden door leading from the balcony to the living room was tightly closed. He found a small stool on the balcony, stood on it, and peered through the small window above the wooden door. The living room was empty, but in the adjacent small dining room, he saw a woman collapsed beside the sofa, her head a bloody mess. Oh no, someone's been murdered. Terrified, he fell to the ground. It took him a long while to recover. He rushed to call 110. By the time Chen Feixiong and his team sped to the scene, the 110 patrol officers and officers from the Hunan Town police station had already arrived and cordoned off the area tightly. After inspecting the scene, Chen Feixiong began questioning Old Wang and other nervous workers from the paper mill to learn basic information about the victims. In Shaoguan, Chan Xiaolin, head of the Shaoguan Municipal Criminal Investigation Detachment, received the report shortly after arriving at work. He immediately took Li Yongyi, head of the 2nd Criminal Investigation Brigade, and other detectives and rushed to the scene. They joined forces with Zhang Yuekui and the Lechang team who had hurried back from Pingsher, and together began a meticulous examination of the crime scene. For a time, technical personnel were extremely busy, taking photographs, examining traces, surveying the terrain. The forensic doctors carefully lifted the 3 bodies onto police vehicles and sent them to the autopsy room. Samples were urgently sent to the lab. Meanwhile, investigators on the periphery were not idle. They immediately began canvassing and interviewing people throughout the factory. When word of the bloody crime at the paper mill spread, workers and their families felt a mix of tension and morbid curiosity. Small groups gathered at a distance, watching and whispering. That night, the timid dared not go out. The entire factory was enveloped in an atmosphere of terror. The news spread quickly and soon engulfed the whole city district. After a day and a night of initial investigation, the basic circumstances of the victims became clear. The deceased were householder Huang Kailiang, male, born 1956. After demobilization from the army, he was assigned to Lechang Paper Mill, where he served successively as deputy chief of the security section and deputy director of the electrical workshop. His wife Wu Zhangzui, born 1959, also a paper mill employee on standby at home. Their daughter Huang Yan, born 1981, a 19-year-old senior year repeat student. According to co-workers, because the enterprise was doing poorly, Huang Kailiang often worked as a motorcycle taxi driver in Lechang district after finishing his day shift at the factory, usually returning home around 11 p.m. A colleague who rode with him recalled seeing him on the night of December 19th. It was cold and drizzling that night, with few passengers. He probably went home after 10 p.m. After that night, no one saw him again until his body was discovered. His wife Wu Zhangzui was a quiet, considerate woman who rarely visited others in the evening, and usually closed the door early to keep her daughter company. Their daughter Huang Yan had not done well on last year's college entrance exam, and only qualified for a junior college. She chose not to enroll and instead returned to her old high school for repeat study, hoping to get into an undergraduate program the following year. On December 20th, she didn't go to school. A teacher sent a classmate to her home to check on her, but no one answered the door. They assumed she had gone out with her parents for some reason. One worker who lived in the same building said that around 9:30 p.m. on December 19th, he vaguely heard someone shouting help. But it was raining, and there was loud noise from a construction site across from the dormitory building. So he didn't pay much attention, thinking it might be a young couple upstairs arguing or the sound from a TV drama. There had previously been an incident in the building where a wife shouted help during a marital quarrel. So he didn't open the door to check. All signs indicated that the 3 victims had been killed 3 days earlier, on the evening of December 19th. The crime scene investigation and autopsy reports soon confirmed this. The scene was a 70-plus square meter 2-bedroom, two-living-room concrete apartment. Both the iron security gate and the wooden inner door were intact and undamaged. There was pooled water in the hall. Huang Kailiang lay supine on the main bed. His clothes and the quilt beneath him soaked with blood. There were spattered bloodstains on the bed and the surrounding walls. Wu Zhangcue was found sitting/lying dead on a wooden sofa in the dining room. Most of her clothing was soaked, blood had pooled on the floor, and higher bloodstains had dried. On the tea table was a porcelain teapot containing unsteeped tea leaves. Some leaves were also scattered on the table and floor. In another bedroom, Huang Yan's room, she lay supine on the floor, surrounded by pooled blood. Based on the shape and characteristics of the wounds on all three bodies, the injury-causing instrument was determined to be a single type of heavy, easily swung, long-bladed sharp tool used for chopping and cutting. A kitchen cleaver best fit the description. The cause of death for all three was craniocerebral injury combined with hemorrhagic shock. As soon as the technical personnel finished speaking, the investigators began discussion and analysis. Regarding the method and means of the crime, there was basic consensus. This was committed by an acquaintance. Evidence included a bag of apples under the living room tea table, the teapot prepared for brewing tea in the dining room, and the fact that the doors were not forced, all pointing to an acquaintance who gained entry under the pretense of a visit, carrying his own weapon, and then carried out the murders. If the crime were reconstructed, it likely occurred around 10 p.m. on December 19th. The suspect was familiar with the family and knew the male head of the household was out driving a motorcycle taxi. He came in the rain carrying a bag of apples, knocked on the door, and the woman of the house, seeing a familiar face, opened the door without suspicion. She turned to the dining room to make tea. The suspect followed her in, placed the apples beside the tea table, and then attacked her from behind. Next he rushed into the bedroom and attacked the daughter who was studying. After killing the mother and daughter, he lay in wait for the father to return home, then killed him as well. After murdering all three, he quickly cleaned the scene, washing and mopping, sexually assaulted the daughter's body, and calmly closed the door and left. The main points of debate were the purpose and motive of the crime. Was it revenge killing or a crime of passion? Most investigators believed that the wounds on all three bodies were concentrated on the head and face, delivered with extreme brutality, deep and chaotic cuts, indicating a revenge-driven family annihilation motivated by intense hatred. However, some detectives pointed out that one of the victims, Huang Yan, was a beautiful young woman in the prime of youth, well-developed, attractive, and with a good figure, easily arousing lust. Her clothing was disheveled, and there were clear signs of sexual assault on her body. They did not rule out the possibility of a crime motivated by lust, passion, or rape murder. Another point of contention was whether the crime was committed by one person or multiple people. Some investigators argued that killing three people in different rooms at roughly the same time would be difficult for one person. But the forensic experts countered that the killer came prepared. He first dealt with the two weaker victims, the women, then confronted the stronger one, the man. One person was fully capable of carrying it out, consistent with the characteristics of a revenge killing. The Shaoguan and Lechang police immediately formed a special task force and divided into 5 groups to launch an investigation and search for clues.